Last Saturday night became a turning point in my life. My girlfriend Amanda and I had been together for 3 years, living in what everyone assumed was her apartment for the past 2. The truth, however, was different. The evening of my best friend Mike's engagement party started off harmless enough. It was a backyard gathering with glowing string lights, champagne towers, and about 30. As the night moved along, I found myself catching up with old college friends, clinking glasses and laughing over the steady hum of voices. Then I noticed a small circle forming around Amanda. She had been drinking consistently, and her naturally loud voice carried even further once tipsy. I caught the end of her tale just as the group around her erupted with laughter. Emma's sister leaned over, offering a gentle, sympathetic smile. "Amanda's just telling us about that camping trip you two took last summer," she said, trying to soften whatever was being shared. A knot twisted in my stomach. That trip hadn't been a disaster, at least not to me. We forgot the air mattress pump, sure, but it wasn't some catastrophe. Amanda, however, leaned into the drama, rolling her eyes as she painted a picture of misery. "He just snored while I basically slept on rocks," she sighed dramatically. "That's Alex for you. Pretends it's fine when it isn't." I forced a strained smile, trying to shake it off. But then someone nearby, clearly pressed by social curiosity, asked the question that shifted everything. "So when are you two getting engaged? You've been together almost as long as Mike and Emma, right?" Before I could reply with the usual, "We're not in a rush," Amanda snorted into her champagne glass. "Oh, don't worry," she announced loudly. Enough for all to hear. "I won't let him propose. I could do so much better." The air thickened. My jaw tightened. Kept going. "Alex is fine," she waved her glass lazily in my direction. "Stable job, decent cook, but husband material. Please." She leaned in as if sharing a secret, but her voice carried perfectly. "He's so unambitious, it's painful. 3 years in the same role. No promotion. His salary's flatlined. And he's boring. Stays in every weekend to watch documentaries." Heat rushed up my neck as my face burned. She wasn't just exposing flaws, she was tearing me down in front of friends. "And his family's weird," she added with a fake shiver. "His mom calls him twice a week. Imagine those people as in-laws." Silence. Settled. I glanced across the yard and met Mike's eyes. His look a mix of shock and discomfort. Amanda sipped more champagne, oblivious to the stunned faces around her. "Anyway," she wrapped up, "I'm keeping my options open. Jason from marketing's been texting me and he's on track for regional manager." That was news to me. I set my glass down and stepped away. Emma's sister touched my arm softly, her eyes full of pity and apology. I managed a tight smile, muttered something about fresh air, and left quietly. No fight, no scene, just a calm, deliberate exit. 3 months earlier I had overheard Amanda telling her sister about her exit strategy. She planned to hold off until bonus season, not wanting to miss payout. That had been my first real wake-up call. Instead of confronting her, I started planning. Check the lease, the one everyone assumed was in name. It wasn't. The apartment she'd claimed as hers had always been mine. Had signed the original lease, renewed it twice, and paid every check from my account. Legally the space was mine, not hers. So I acted. Found a new place, paid the deposit, and set up mail forwarding. That night I packed my essentials, clothes, documents, irreplaceable keepsakes, and loaded my car. I called the landlord, Stanley, and explained I'd use the early termination clause I'd negotiated. When Amanda came home, she would face an empty apartment, not a shouting match. She returned from the party at 1:38 a.m. I know because that's when the calls started. First confused, then angry, then desperate. 74 missed calls and 31 texts by morning. I never replied. Days later, Mike rang. "Dude, what happened? Amanda's telling people you abandoned her and left her homeless." Explained calmly, the overheard phone called the public humiliation the lease. He paused, then said, "That's actually pretty badass. Clean break, no drama." Since then, Amanda has been unraveling. She made fake social media accounts to message me, reached out to my family, who thankfully never cared for her, and even appeared at my office, causing a scene that ended with security escorting her out. She spread lies about me cheating, left emotional voicemails, and even claimed she was entitled to the apartment, something legally impossible. Her most recent attempt arrived in a long, pleading email insisting it was all a joke, that she had always pictured a future with me and that I had overreacted to harmless remarks. Never responded. There was nothing left to. I've started settling into my new place. A quiet relief washing over me as I step into this new chapter. Just yesterday I met up with Mike and Emma for lunch. They've been steady in their support, and I've even begun therapy. It's been eye-opening, showing me how I ignored subtle red flags that crept in slowly, camouflaging themselves until they became too obvious to dismiss. Realized that for 3 years I was only a placeholder, someone she tolerated until something better came along. Irony being I'm the one who found something better, self-respect. It's been 10 days since I sent that single attachment email. It contained an audio file I secretly recorded 3 months ago, where she casually described her exit strategy, unaware it would one day cement my decision to leave. She didn't add a message. None was needed. I wanted her to see this wasn't a rash move. Hasn't replied, and that silence suits. Fine. The lease situation ended exactly as I predicted. Amanda tried to argue that her emotional investment in the place and the perception among friends should hold legal weight. Stanley, the property manager, dismissed it instantly, pointing to my name on every document. Later, my mother called to tell me Amanda had shown up at my parents' house uninvited and tearful. My mom, composed as ever, let her in, listened, then calmly said, "My son does not want contact with you. You persist, the next step is law enforcement." She later texted me, "Never liked her. Your father agrees. Parents with boundaries are a gift." A twist came when I received an email from Jason, the marketing guy Amanda once bragged about. He had no clue she was in a relationship. She had pretended to be single and they'd been talking for weeks. He apologized for unknowingly playing a role and attached screenshots as proof. I thanked him for his honesty and wished him well. Work has been understanding, keeping security alerts in place after Amanda tried visiting the office twice more, each time escorted away. Since then she seems to have backed off. Few mutual friends reached out for my side after hearing hers. Most were supportive once they learned the truth. The few who sided with her I now view as a natural filter for relationships not worth holding on to. As for physical reminders of our time, I handled it cleanly. I hired movers, timed it for when she'd be at work, and emptied my belongings in under 90 minutes. I left behind anything I'd gifted her or we'd bought together. Complete final break. Therapy has been helping me process how I missed the signs, her gradual isolation, tactics, the way jokes at my expense normalized public belittling, and how she rebranded the apartment as hers, despite all evidence otherwise. For those asking if I had planned this from the start, not exactly. Began documenting after overhearing her exit plan, but the engagement party was the tipping point. That night she unmasked herself for everyone to see, not just me. By then I was already detached, having spent months grieving the end before it was official. People often ask if I feel guilty since she tells others I left her homeless. You don't. Amanda has a solid job, family nearby, and according to friends moved in with her sister immediately. She was never in danger of being on the street. And as for whether 3 years is too much to throw away over one night, it wasn't one night. It was a pattern, a build-up of little betrayals that only came into sharp focus when exposed under the bright, humiliating spotlight of that party. Now I'm doing better than I expected. I've reconnected with old friends, taken hiking, something she dismissed as walking in dirt, and even went on a casual coffee date. Nothing serious, just a reminder of what simple, respectful interaction feels like.